Hello, my dear Amber, and welcome to your connection session. Mediumship, whatever term works best for you. I actually already have a couple of my decks out that you can't see here, and I'm going to smudge those, just clear those off right quick, and have your questions and Caitlin's photo pulled up in front of me so that I can connect. First and foremost, thank you so much for your patience on this process. After a while, I realized I needed to let a little bit more time go by since this was such a recent situation. So what tends to happen is whatever state the person was in at the time of their passing, they remain in for a little bit after they have gone over. Depending on what level of peace they were at and those sort of things. There's sort of a probationary required period for them to cross over, if you will. We are about to actually find out. Let me light this one more time. Find out if she has crossed over. Because now the energy was not hard to connect to. And I'm going to say off of my spidey senses and what is coming through me right now that she has not crossed over, and her soul is actually going to remain sort of in limbo, looking over the kids for acting in a sort of way, not as a lost soul, but as like a it's such a sensitive subject. I always try to look for the right terms, but more of a La Llorona type thing, like where she's watching her children until the time that her original life would have expired would have been over. Or even possibly she may get a reprieve through being able to come through one of her children, but the connection that is keeping her bound here, that is not having her pass on to another realm or to ascend, so to speak, is in the connection to the children. So first and foremost, I am going to pull from my dark mirror oracle for your first question. Well, no, that's not a good one for the first question. I'm actually going to start with the heavier stuff first. So I am going to tap in. Let's get started, my dear Amber. I'm pulling up her name, and I'm going to focus on her picture. Why I say it, because that last name is throwing me for a loop. I'm like, is it McDougal? McDougal? It's really giving me, so the picture is going to have to carry it for me. So, dear universe, I would like to tap into the energy of Caitlin Catherine Walker McDougal. McDougal. Okay. I would like to tap into the energy of Caitlin. Caitlin passed on June 11th, 2021. And we have some questions for her. She'd be available to speak. Okay, so I'm going to start with questions surrounding the actual event, and then work to the more difficult subject for her, which is the children. Okay? So, for the dark mirror oracle, which sort of tells a less than pleasant truth as opposed to the other cards that sort of keep it PG, so to speak. This one is more raw. So, now that we are connected, dear Caitlin, why did you choose, or why did your life end? What were the circumstances surrounding your exit from this plane? I'm sensing a lot of overwhelm, like borderline panic, hysteria, just too much. And that is essentially what popped up. This is calling the storm. for this, the sake of this, it feels like she was very much being everything to everybody, because hiding your true self was also in there. So she was building up too much for herself. But I'm going to pull out this one card at the end. It says Triumph of Lies, because that feels like that's leading to another reason it might have been the topper. Based upon what I'm feeling coming through now, and I'm just going to blurt everything out as it goes. She's the type of person that is really always there for everybody, trying to be amazing, essentially. But it doesn't mean that she was always getting the help that she needed. Everything felt like it was entirely too much, but there was a topping point, which is this Triumph of Lies, which I'm going to connect to. What is the energy of where the lies are coming from, or the lie that pushed her over? If it was a lie from herself, we'll get into that, or if it was a lie from someone else. So, Caitlin, what was the lie that pushed you over the edge? What is the triumph of the lie? Give me more information on that. I keep getting told to feel like it's something with her husband. Pessimism, depression, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. So she was lying to herself about how bad her symptoms of mental illness or depression were. She was not seeing things for what they were, and she really had started wearing a mask. But also part of it did have to do with her marriage, because the Lover card popped up. And in this case, because it is a negative connotation, the issue is self-destructive devotion. Maybe giving too much and not receiving. Because as I am doing this reading, that is really the overwhelming feeling that I am getting here, that everything was just too much. So, back to my dark mirror here. She still feels very sweet, like her energy is very sweet. But she did do it 100,000%. She would like you to know that. It's not adding up for you, she says, because she did not want you to know she was struggling. Like, she finally got all the things that you guys used to talk about, and she didn't want you to think she was unhappy. She didn't want to think she was unhappy. Period. This is what she asked for. And she couldn't get rid of the feeling until the feeling overwhelmed her, my dear. Heavy stuff. So that answers what happened when you saw her 6 months ago. She had been denying it for a while. For the gun. Let's get to it. Dear Caitlin, how did you decide on a gun? How did you decide on a gun? Is she somebody who searches stuff a lot? Because that is really what's coming through here, like in her energy. Like, I looked it up. And she had possibly been holding it for a while, holding it and hiding it, actually. Not sure what it was going to be used for. Just knowing she needed it, or feeling like she needed it. In some ways, it feels like this was a slow build up to this. Like, if all the pieces had not been put there ahead of time, it may not have ended up this way, but it was like slow suggestions from her depression over time to do A, B, C, and D, and she didn't realize where she was being led. But at the moment that everything came together, the only thing she can think of in such panic was to grab that. So essentially, the darkness in her had sort of set her up to be overtaken by it with this sort of setup here, because the pieces she had already got those. They had been there for some time, or been building over time. And yeah, definitely she was able to spend some time looking into it on her own. She wasn't sure what she was doing. She was actually looking into a lot of stuff towards the end, trying to find cures or other ways to handle the feelings that she was having, just being overwhelmed. This is a lot of stress and struggle, and not getting fully reciprocated from your partner. Maybe not what you need, maybe feeling like you're not doing what you wanted to in life. It just feels very hopeless. Just hopeless, even down to the point of not feeling like her presence was going to be what those children needed in this condition. So I know I'm hopping around your questions, but I'm going based upon where the energy is feeling like it needs to be. Right now, just going in order. That is absolutely the truth, that she did it. How was she at the time? She was more scared of living. And I'm going to pull on that for you. How is it there, Caitlin? Are you scared or at complete peace? How is it on the other side? So yes, absolutely. As of right now, this is caught in the ruins. This is in limbo, absolutely. This is a chess game, which means she's playing the game. And the game is living out her contract until the time that she would have passed, or until one of her children has a child. So that was absolutely dead on. This is freaking amazing. To pass on her time. But the loops, these sentiments, the feelings of everyone else are being piled on her along with hers during this time. She's having to see the results of her actions. And that is why, even though at the time that she did what she did, she felt like in the clear, like it was like that feeling you get when you're riding a bike and then the wheels start going so fast that it's just on its own. It's like the panic and everything at that moment had wound up so much that peace was all she felt at the moment that she did exit. But now that she is where she is having to deal with the feelings and the repercussions of what took place. So, have you seen your father, Caitlin? Have you seen your dad on the other side? My immediate mind says they're not in the same area. Especially this early in her passing, I believe she is completely only seeing what she wants to see. And right now, that is the children. In some way, she may be still walking around their house as if nothing has happened. Because has she seen her dad? He's up in the air. He's in a different area completely. He's doing something way different. Has he been gone longer, past longer? That's what it feels like. But she is not connected, because she's really like heavily imbued with all the energies of everybody else's sorrow. So we established How was it there? Has she seen her dad? If she actually did it, and she did it. Um, what happened to overwhelm? What was going through your head? Okay, so that's the more difficult one. How did you decide on the gun? And what happened in between time? Okay. What was going through your head at the time? When I saw the part about him inside sleeping, I think that really, that added to it. Like she was doing a lot by herself regarding the children, and just his lack of is it camaraderie? Like maybe he worked a lot during the day or something, but either way, it was just something about him that was too busy or too preoccupied to help her the way she needed to, or to notice that there was something not going right. She was putting on a smile for everybody though. So, what was going through your head at the time, Caitlin, when you fired the gun? What was going through your head, Caitlin, at the time when you fired the gun? She felt like she was doing the right thing. She felt like there was no other path. She felt like she was on track. On track. Doing what she needed to do for herself. I think maybe because she was seen as such a strong person, or known for being such a strong, organized, like on time, all together sort of person, that not being that person to herself sort of overwhelmed her. But this absolutely felt like the thing she should have done. She felt like it was her only option. So is there anything you would like for your children to know, Caitlin, in the future? Is there any message you would like for her to deliver them? Any message you would like for her to deliver? She would like them to never forget anything they've learned, or to make sure they still keep up with whatever they were being taught. Something about initiation, something about like spirituality, is it possibly religion, just some sort of belief system they need to be taught. Not to ever forget themselves or be fake for anybody else, or to let anybody take advantage of them, and to always chase their dreams. It was a very full sentence. She didn't want any of the things that she had begun to instill in them to go away because she's not in the physical, because she's very much around in the astral. But what happens to them in the future is very important to her. She wants, this is the first part where she got like emotional, where I can feel like I'm happy I waited to the end for this, because this would have broke the connection, because the overwhelm is like so heavy, like my chest is heavy right now, just as far as them. Like she felt like she couldn't make them to be better, but she still wants them to remember the things she taught them to be better, but she feels like somebody else can carry it out, and she's still sort of kind of in that loop of confusion and anxiety regarding the kids and the feelings she had about herself, and carrying out her job properly with the partner that she had, with the partner that she originally wanted to spend her life with, and that she still wanted to spend her life with. She just really felt like she was drowning. So what I'm going to pull for you now is from that deck. We discussed the unsent messages to see if there's anything she wants to just leave out there, anything she wants to stream through as we pull this to a close, my dear. So let me pull this out. So, dear Caitlin, is there any other message you would like to relay? Anything you would like to say before we close this session? Some of her favorite memories are of you. That is the message. And there also are some remaining feelings regarding her husband. You traded a diamond for a rock, and I'm not sure I'll ever trust you the same. So that leads more into what could have pushed her over the edge here. But my gut is definitely not on him having actually physically done it. It's nothing like that. This was based on her emotions, but absolutely something that was sad enough to make her just feel like all her work was in vain. So, Miss Caitlin is still in between working through the feelings, watching the children. I don't feel like she's so much watching the husband. It's too much for her right now. So I look forward to your feedback on this, and just if there's anything else you need me to clear this up with. But this is pretty much where she is right now. She's still very much in the throes of the original feelings. There has not been enough time for her to start to see the bigger picture, or to make peace with it, or learn that maybe certain things weren't her fault, or that none of that. She's still very much the person she was when she pulled that gun at that moment, very much in those feelings. So I hope this was helpful for you, Amber. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and please let me know if you have any other questions.